Hey, welcome back to Game Informer. Ubisoft just revealed Watch Dogs Legion formally. We saw a ton of gameplay. I'm Leo Vader. I'm going to talk about it with my dear, dear friends. Jeff Cork.
Hi.
Jeff
That's him.
Marchiafava.
That's me.
What do we make of this thing?
It looks crazy ambitious.
I have to say, I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the leaks ahead of time. All I knew about it was supposedly taking place in London and that you were going to be able to take control of anyone in the world.
Right. Which you thought was a possession thing.
That's exactly what I thought. It was like some kind of like their Bluetooth headset was actually connected to their brain.
Yeah.
And you just move them around. I was like, that sounds kind of weird.
Poor people.
Yeah. And instead, you're apparently recruiting them. You can recruit anyone, and they kind of add to a pool of characters. And the big reveal was that if one of them dies, it's permadeath.
Yeah.
And so they're just kind of gone from your team.
Exactly. Like at the beginning, the first guy, he was kind of like a Guy Ritchie style.
Very much.
Hey, brava, one of those dudes. And then, oi. Yeah.
And then he just died. And they were like, well, that's that.
The end.
I was just getting attached to him.
Yeah, exactly. And then they took over. It was like an old lady.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is, you know, they didn't tell us beforehand. And it seemed like any other character that you would expect in one of these types of games. But usually that means, you know, they're written and scripted specifically for story moments and stuff. And it's kind of crazy to think that it could be any character that you're walking through things. And I still don't understand how that's going to work.
Yeah, it must be a super procedurally set up system where each person has a specific voice and then they can have random traits and they'll say certain voice lines based on their traits. But everybody's supposed to have like an origin mission too that's specific to them?
Yeah, which just seems like it's not going to work.
It seems very ambitious.
Yes.
Super ambitious.
It's got to be just drawing from a pool of like, all right, you've got these guys are fighters, these guys are old ladies, these guys are, you know, whatever, like punk rockers. And then they share voices and everything. So like, I would imagine it would be possible to recruit a team of people that are all functionally identical.
Yeah,
if
very
you're not
similar.
careful. Like if you like, but at the same time, maybe if this is indeed the way that it works, maybe you like a certain type of person and you can like actively recruit just brawlers or something, you know?
Yeah, the customization seems fun. Like, I imagine you'll be able to get different masks. We saw a ton in this demo.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that, you know, Watch Dogs 1 and 2 and every game ever made, every open world game, are all about building a resistance against an evil force and kind of getting a groundswell of people with you. But this is the most unique take on that I've seen.
Yeah, where you're actually kind of doing it, and they're kind of simulating aspects.
Yeah.
I like the idea that you'll have characters, and some of them are better at some things than others are.
And losing one matters.
And it seems like there was like a direct reference in dialogue when switching to the other character where they asked about, when the one guy you were trying to like rescue, he refers to like, hey, what happened to that guy who was looking for me? Well, he's dead. He didn't make it. So
Did you reference him by name?
I don't think he did. I think it was just like he didn't make it. So got some heavy lifting pronouns there, which will probably save them in the long run.
Right. So earlier this guy went down and he had the chance to get back up.
Yeah.
So it's like a Sekiro thing almost, where you can almost die once. I wonder if there's a way to refresh that and, you know, be able to cheat death again.
Yeah, and I think it said that you could surrender at that point. So maybe that's, you know, kind of like the first time you go down, and maybe you end up getting captured, you know, and there's some kind of gameplay with getting that kind of person back. And if you keep on going, then you risk permadeath or something.
Yeah.
But it should be interesting to see how they balance all those kind of things.
Now, Leo, you just finished Watch Dogs 2 recently, correct?
Yes.
Now, it's been a long time since I played, so it's escaped my memory. Is Albion like the big tech baddie in Watch Dogs 2?
No, it's Bloom is the name of the evil corporation.
Okay, so this is like an all new, an all new force.
They describe it as a new authoritarian regime
All right.
that popped up. But I saw when this lady popped up, it specifically had one of her traits, limited mobility.
Limited mobility. Okay. Also said owned lots of cats. Under her personality, that looked legitimately said that.
Because there's a part at the end of Watch Dogs 2, spoilers, where you play as one of your fellow hackers, and they can do all the same parkour backflips that Marcus is doing the whole game. But I guess that old lady can't necessarily be doing backflips everywhere.
That's interesting.
Yeah, you see, like in this sequence, you know, she like vaults over cover slowly. There you go.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I will be so sad to get her killed.
Over and over again, and all her old friends too.
Yeah. saw her with a stun gun there. Watch Dogs 2 has great non-lethal options. That really just make it a guilt-free experience.
Yeah, like the bungee cord thing that you'd knock people out with it.
Right, yeah, those 2 balls on the rope.
Yeah.
God, I'm so... This is the most exciting thing I've seen at E3 so far, for sure. And in that I can remember, honestly.
It is. And we mentioned during the show that it's the first Watch Dogs demo that actually looks like it can be real gamelay.
Exactly.
You know, it's not all
Ubisoft
gussied up.
In general.
Yeah.
They have that problem.
And so that's interesting. But I still wonder if they are overselling, you know, the idea that you can recruit anyone. They all have their own personalities and dialogue. At some point, that has to break down to certain pools that are pulling from, you know, canned dialogue.
You'll recognize the same things over and over again. So that's the worry. But God, if they pull it off, if Ubisoft's strength has always been tons of assets. You know, the Division 2, you have these fully modeled museums with 100 different unique 3D models that you never see anywhere else in the game.
Right.
And if they can get those kind of just a sheer breadth of voice lines and character models, like if they pull that off, it's worrying.
It's really is.
It's
worrying.
It's very ambitious. Horrifyingly ambitious.
I was impressed by all of the, you know, the characters that they were playing and the way that they were interacting with each other. All seemed like normal video game storytelling kind of stuff. And the idea that you can be doing that with different characters and having different conversations and stuff could be really cool. If they can pull it off.
The procedural stuff that'll come out of it. These elements of characters with specific traits with permadeath, you know, not a roguelike, but kind of that feel of having different experiences and different stories play out with these different characters. And I haven't seen that in a AAA game.
Yeah, that was something that always interested me about State of Decay. You know, they kind of had that idea that you build up a pool of characters that are all unique.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
That was always really intriguing in that game when, you know, the gameplay wasn't as polished and, you know, the game had all its own problems, but that was still a really cool system. So it's interesting to see that, you know, in a big open world Ubisoft game.
That's a great point.
It'll be interesting to see too if like certain missions in the story will require that you have like, you need somebody who's good at hacking and you also need somebody, you know, like the drone expert that they were recruiting in the demo that they showed. So you're like forced to fill out your roster if you don't have those spaces to kind of, and then when people die, you need to replace them with someone with a similar skill set. Rather than just like a State of Decay, which you can get by for the most part of just incidentally, this person is good at something, but it isn't like a fundamental part of the game necessarily.
Right. My concern, I guess it wouldn't be the end of the world right now, is that there are going to be certain characters that can't die, that are just too important. Maybe that won't be anyone playable. Like, that's what I'd like to see.
Yeah.
I don't want to even have the option of relying on somebody who couldn't be taken away, just because I love permadeath so much.
Especially, like, just imagine, though, the consequences that it introduces, like, with driving like a maniac. It's like, oh, those are potentially interesting people that I'm running over constantly.
We may actually feel something for killing NPCs.
Yeah, and I wonder if the element that was in Watch Dogs 2 that was really fun is like scanning people, getting a little information about them, and then like, I'm going to call the cops on this person and watch them get hassled for no reason. If that's still going to be an element here, or because you are trying to play as like not a good guy, but a resistance leader, it's counterproductive to cause that kind of mischief, which I understand, like from a narrative standpoint, why that makes sense, but I did enjoy just that layer for when you're like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to make any progress. I just want to dink around for an hour.
Goof around, yeah, sure.
Right. Yeah, we'll see how dark that gets. I think the strength of Watch Dogs 2 more than 1 for me is that everybody has those traits, even though they were just flavor. It was like, it made them feel like real people, and you could interact with them in other ways than just shooting them.
Yeah.
You could steal their money or give them a fake text that'll distract them. And I feel like it's one of the very few open world games that do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I hope they lean into that more. And it seems like these people are more people than ever. It's great.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool. So March was the release date for this one.
March 6th. Yep.
Yes. I really, really am eager to play it. I wish I didn't have to wait that long.
Yeah. Same here.
Well, thanks for talking about this, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks for showing it at your Ubisoft press conference, Leo.
Of course. You can watch the full archive of us streaming that Ubisoft conference if you want, or you can watch any of the upcoming conferences. We're doing Nintendo and we're doing Netflix. So that should be a press conference that we talk over. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Thank you.